Hi, I'm Danielle from 90 Day Fiancé, and please listen to Bring Me Your Torch.
Welcome to another episode of Bring Me Your Torch. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Elaine.
And today we have a very special guest from one of the spin-offs of 90 Day Fiancé. From 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way, we have Laura.
Laura Jallali, which kind of sounds like Danielle Jabali, but we're going to not draw those comparisons just yet. We'll get into that.
Whenever I saw her name, I did think it was rather odd how similar their names are, those people we talk to. But hey, you know what? I have people who have similar names to me. So it's just the way life is. So we'll get to that interview right now.
Thank you for coming on the podcast and taking the time to speak with us. How have you been doing?
Not too bad. It's been a bit of a roller coaster, but I've been doing pretty good, enjoying my life in Ecuador.
Okay, cool. Well, that was going to be one of our questions of where you were, but you're down in Ecuador.
Yes. I'm down here visiting Evelyn and just enjoying the nice weather that they're having. It's their winter right now, but it's beautiful. For me, it's perfect.
Wow. I'm jealous. I'm definitely jealous. Question for you, because I just want to clear it up before we get into what's been going on the show. When did filming end with 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way? Did you guys end was it March or April?
Oh no, they were filming us right up until the end of, I think, July the 23rd, maybe. For my Tunisian wedding, that actually just happened July 15th, 16th, 17th. And then I did I believe it was actually the first week of August.
Okay, so that puts it into perspective a little bit, just how, things change, just so our listeners know that this is all very recent on the show. We're in October now, but it's only been, 2 months, 2.5 months that things have changed pretty quickly.
Yes.
I think we have to dive in a little bit on Aladin. And before we do, by the way, when you first met him, was it hard not to say Aladdin? When I see his name, that's the first thing I want to say is Aladdin, not Aladin. Is that just my problem or is that everybody's problem?
Aladin spells his name about 100 different ways. And so Sharp Entertainment was really also trying to nail it down, the spelling of his name. Like, how shall we spell it? Because it keeps coming to us in different versions. His real name is Allah, as one name, just Allah, and then his middle name is Adin, Allah Adin. I always just called him Aladin because that's what he told me when we met to call him by. So.
Sorry, I'm giving you kind of like a spelling question here or a pronunciation vocab lesson, but is it pronounced Qatar or Qatar? Because I hear it both ways, and I'm always really confused with that too.
Oh, Qatar. I pronounce it the way I told me to pronounce it, and that's when I was living there. That I heard guitar.
Good. That's what I said.
Like all of them said, you say it like a guitar, but it's guitar. So I was like, okay, because I was like, was it Quartar, or how do you say the name of the country you're working in? And he's like, it's guitar.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah, I have a lot of people always correcting me on pronunciation with Aladin's name, the country I lived in. I was like, I'm just saying what I hear every day, so I'm sorry, but that's how they say it here. I lived there in Qatar.
Well, great. With learning all of that, I will then say that Aladin from Qatar seemed kind of controlling. I mean, he got really upset if he got coffee without his permission. He would always say you disrespect him on a lot of different things. What were the main issues that led to all of this? Was it doomed from the start?
Aladin had Aladin's always been a bit controlling, But Aladin had a very big personality change when we went to Tunisia this summer for the 3-day wedding, and a huge difference in his personality. What you didn't see on the show and what didn't get discussed is when I was in Africa, in Tunisia, nobody spoke English there, none of his families, and Aladin would take off quite often with his friends, and I always had to stay in this room. It was like a TV room / was our bedroom at night, and I would be stuck in this room way too much, and I'm a very, I'm a social person, and I kind of felt like I was in prison. Like I just was, it was killing me to sit in this dark room all day, every day. And he would take off and he would like go to get his haircut and he'd be gone for 3 hours.
Jeez.
Really? 3 hours?
Oh
to
my
get your
gosh.
haircut?
So, he didn't let you go with him?
No, because he was just going to get his haircut and he wouldn't be gone that long. And we actually got into discussion where I told him, like, I'm really getting depressed sitting in this room.
Yeah.
So, and you take off and you do your thing with your friends, but I'm sitting here and I can't communicate with your mother. Like, it's really hard when nobody speaks your language. And it just was a quite depressing time for me. And he promised me that he would try to take me to places like to the beach. And so I said, well, how about if we go to the hotel Liam stayed at? They have a swimming pool there. And he said, okay, yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. So I was like I was kind of coming out of a little bit of a depression I was feeling when in Africa. We were in Africa for 6 weeks. So it wasn't like just a short little visit.
Yeah.
We were there for 6 weeks. And the next morning he gets up and he tells me he's going to take his dad to get his hair cut.
Oh, gosh.
Like, okay.
That was 6 hours, right?
Here we go. Well, he took his dad and then he came back really quick. Then he said, I'm going to go back there and have him cut my hair. And I'm like, Frig, man, how many times you got to get your hair cut? Anyways, he was gone. He was gone for 3 hours. Cut. And his uncle came over to the house and he came into the room where I was sitting, and he can't speak English, but what he was saying to me is, Aladin is at the coffee shop and he's on his cell phone. He's not getting his hair cut. So I was livid, and that's when I walked out of the house and I caught a cab and I went to the pool all by myself. So when he was kind of having a bit of the meltdown, it wasn't the coffee shop incident. There was one time in Qatar when I did go to a coffee shop, literally to a drive-through. I was gone for 10 minutes. But
how dare you?
The bigger incident that they didn't really explain. I know, how dare me. The bigger incident was when I went to the hotel swimming pool after he didn't show up for 3 hours. So I was just like, that's it. I've had it. I'm going to go out. I'll make my own fun if I have to. I got to get out of this room. So his version is I was very disrespectful to him to do this. But, he doesn't find it disrespectful that he promised me just the day before that he wouldn't be taking off for hours on me. Jeez. And leaving me at his family's home. So
in a foreign country.
I wish that had been.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yes.
I am sorry you had to go through that. I don't know what the cultural differences are, if that's what's kind of expected of the men and the women, if he thinks that's okay, if it's a maturity thing and he doesn't realize that you shouldn't treat women like that. I don't know. It seems like there might be something else going on there that we don't know about.
At the same time, though, the show was on, and Aladin was getting inundated with women proposing to him daily. women, literally throwing themselves at him. So I know that a lot of time that he was spending away from me, he actually was like online checking out all these chicks.
It sounds like I need to get in the show for my social life.
Yes, apparently so.
Well, Jesse, you need a foreign lady for yourself. Get on the show. We've done enough.
Listeners of our show know I dated a Brazilian woman, 15 years ago. That's probably going to be the end of that. But your family. Your family has been pretty vocal on the show and online. We saw on the most recent tell-all, your son Liam was on there, and it became a whole thing. He was laughing, and the dog was barking. And I have to admit, and I'm sorry, I was kind of laughing at the whole thing because the dog barking and making it. I don't know if that was what made him laugh, just kind of made me laugh. But you were upset, so I feel bad about that. What's it been like with your family since all this has gone down?
Not easy. To say the least. It's been really hard. I have lost a lot from this, and a big part of that includes my family. So it's part of the reason why I'm not back in Canada at this time, because there's really not a lot for me there yet. I think it's going to take time when it comes to my family for things to heal. And at the same time, we all got duped by Aladin. My mother, my son even once had a conversation with him before I left to move to Qatar. And he said to Aladin, please promise me that you will not break my mother's heart. I just need to know that you truly love my mom and you're going to take care of her, because he's worried about me. And Aladin reassured him up and down that I will never leave your mother. I promise you, I will not break her heart. So my mother has talked to Aladin too, and he fooled us all. And even our viewers that watched the show, when people saw him interacting with me at the beginning of the program, it seemed like the guy really, really loved me, was deeply in love with me.
Definitely.
And it was only when some financial difficulty that this very different side of Aladin appeared, and he wasn't a nice person. He wasn't the guy who I married, and I started to see his agenda for everything, and it broke my heart. It broke my family's heart too. We were just really shocked. In fact, part of the reason why Liam was laughing so much is he just wasn't really believing that Aladin was on national TV and wanting to divorce me over something so minimal. So he was like, first of all, he does a lot of nervousness, but then he just was like, what? Like, this just, you're going to divorce my mother?
Yeah, and you know what? So I was thinking that the entire time, that Liam was laughing out of nervousness, or just kind of like how bizarre it is that he's on there blowing smoke on national TV.
Yeah, because I know when the tell-all was done, and I talked to Liam, and I told him, I'm really upset. Like, you're laughing there. My heart is being torn out on national TV, and you're laughing. Part of it is nerves, but at the same time, he's like, Mom, I wasn't even really believing it. I thought, is Aladin saying this for like ratings or something? I was like, no, he is divorcing me. So when the divorce is final, is he now legally able to stay in Canada? I guess it would be Canada, since you're Canadian. No. See, well, that is the issue. Is once I I had a pension coming in, and once I lost it, I told Aladin that I cannot sponsor you and bring you to Canada. And that's when I got to see the real Aladin. That's when he totally changed on me and be very cold-hearted and just was very disinterested.
Canada had an election last night. Are you happy Trudeau won?
I heard. Yes, Trudeau again. That's pretty cool. That's good. Good for Trudeau.
Well, I'm glad that Aladin doesn't get to have free reign in Canada the way that, and we're good friends with Danielle, and I know that, Mohammed is running around the U.S., so I am glad that Aladin doesn't have free reign in Canada the way that Mohammed has free reign in the U.S. after what he did to Danielle.
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, sometimes things are a blessing in disguise, although I was really hurt and devastated with my marriage ending. I was glad that I never made that 10-year commitment of being Aladin's sponsor. So, it is a blessing in disguise, because if he could want to divorce me so quickly and so suddenly out of nowhere, he would have done the same thing up in Canada. Once he got to Canada and had his security, he would have done the same thing. So,
and then made his way to the U.S. to terrorize all of us.
Yeah.
Well, there are some pretty crazy rumors going around online. I don't know. Do you get on social media? I'm assuming you do. And do you ever Google your name and see everything that's out there?
Oh, I try not to. I mean, I'm on social media, yes, and people are pretty rootless, and there has been things totally distorted, and I just, for my own mental sanity, I don't read a lot of the garbage that's out there.
I don't want to add to the garbage, so but I'm probably going to anyways, just because I think it did come up in the show briefly. And again, there's nothing wrong with this, but I'm just asking the question. Do you think there's something with Aladin's sexuality that he didn't tell you before the show, or do you think everything is just as it appears?
I don't know. It's definitely the religion. It's very tabooed to have premarital sex. And this is both Tunisia and also in Qatar. So unfortunately, there is a lot of hidden homosexual acts that do take place.
Mm-hmm.
And geez, when you cut off having sex, it's forbidden. Unfortunately, they have sex with each other then to basically release themselves. So it's very prevalent.
Hey, and I think that's cool, as long as you're upfront with the person you're dating or marrying. Even in like Tunisia, which is a bit like, in Qatar, the men's gym is separate from the women's gym. The girls' school is separate from the boys' school.
Mm-hmm.
Like the coffee shop, it's all segregated. It's women and there's the men. You cannot fight happen.
Right.
So everything is divided. Tunisia is not divided as bad as Qatar, but you still cannot go out on a date with a woman unless you are engaged to be married to her. So there's no dating that takes place. Yeah, you even meet in a coffee shop and chit-chat. It's just a big no-no. Only once you have proposed to her and she's now your fiancé that you can meet her in a coffee shop, talk to her on the phone, so forth. So it's a very strict culture.
Jeez, I don't know how you live there.
It was interesting.
Yeah, I probably would have been married and divorced like 1,000 times if that was the case.
Well, in Qatar, you can have up to 4 wives. So, and it's very common to also marry your cousin.
Oh my gosh.
Both in Qatar and also Tunisia. It's very common that you are to marry your cousin. So, yeah, it's really a different culture.
So did that answer your question, Jesse?
Thank you very much.
That's a great answer. So maybe, Jesse, he might be, but
All right,
you just
Elaine,
don't know.
what other garbage from the internet are we going to ask her now?
How about that pregnancy rumor that you faked your pregnancy?
Yes, apparently I faked it. I didn't fake the pregnancy at all, but the timing to which I posted it was an incorrect timing. And I had posted it basically because Aladin had blocked me on all social media everywhere. And after I actually got pregnant on honeymoon this summer, but it was just a tubal pregnancy. And I had no idea that I was pregnant back home in Canada, and I had been sick for such a long time and not really knowing, definitely never thinking I was pregnant. I just figured there's just something really wrong with me. So we did, myself and my cousin actually, she took me to my doctor there, and my doctor did all kinds of blood tests to see what's going on. And we did find out that I, in fact, was pregnant, was shocked the heck out of me. But unfortunately, it didn't make it all the way, basically. And I was just dealing with a lot of remorse and sadness. And Aladin had no idea about it. And I just wanted him to know what happened. And I thought maybe, it's probably the most regretful post I ever made. And everybody's saying, it's impossible. It's impossible. Trust me, it's quite possible. It is very possible. And I'm unless you live inside my ovaries, I still have a visitor that still visits me once a month, folks.
Right.
Just because I was 51 doesn't mean I'm like over the hill and,
Is that going to be the spinoff?
These are impossible.
90 Day Fiancé ovary?
I'm sorry. Exactly. So, yeah.
I'm sorry you went through that, though. That seems pretty rough. And you just kind of wanted Aladin to know, but you posted on social and then it blew up. And
then it just blew way up. And, you have to understand, when I say I lost a lot in my life, it's like, okay, God, what else you want to do with? Like, what else could I possibly lose? I even had to put my one dog down during that time.
Gosh.
Like it just seemed like my world was just being totally taken from underneath my feet, and I just wasn't prepared to be hit with so much so soon and so sudden. And I just thank God for the wonderful people I have met in this journey that really helped me out and really supported me. I mean, Evelyn has been such a god to me because, I had no home to return to. And she opened up her home to me, and she's just, having to crash and burn there. But thank God for good friends and for Evelyn that really stepped in and helped me out during one of the most difficult times of my life.
That's amazing. And thank you for coming on the podcast and sharing that story, because I don't think we see that as much in the tell-all, right? It's about you and Aladin. It's not about your journey. And I like to hear about your journey.
They have taped, it's called Where Are They Now? And they did film a lot of what happened after the tell-all. including they were able to get Aladin to have one conversation with me, and I mean, it was it was bad. Really
When's
bad.
that going to air?
I don't know exactly. I have no idea, but it's coming.
We'll stay tuned. We're excited to see what unfolds there. And I think another one of the rumors was more around your relationship and what people would call and what you would call abuse, right? Whether it's emotional, physical, mental. Did you, by the definition or have the way you view it, do you think that there was any abuse in your relationship?
There never was any physical abuse, but there definitely was control, and especially in Africa. This is when we saw a very different side of Aladin. And seeing guitar, I had a car. I could drive wherever I wanted to go, like to a mall or something. Like I had a lot of freedom in guitar, but when we got to Africa, I was just in this room all the time, except for when we went on our honeymoon. And he became extremely controlling. And I truly felt like I was a prisoner in this home, and he could go out and do his thing and have fun with his friends. And it was really, it was a form of abuse to me. And he would not permit me to get into a cab. They have like one very small mall. It's actually just a grocery store. But like there is nothing there for me in this little town of Gades. There's nothing and nobody to talk to. At least in guitar, it's very international. So there's a lot of people that live there. A lot of expats live in guitar. So I could go out, I could order food, and I could still live my life normal. But in Africa, it was very different, and he became extremely controlling and would not permit me to go anywhere without him being with me. And it was just, it was definitely a form of abuse. And whenever he didn't like something, he would always say, you disrespect me. And I'm like, but I feel you are totally disrespecting me. And I feel like you're strangling me. You're killing me, my personality, because I'm stuck in this bloody room all day.
Jeez. It doesn't sound like a healthy situation. Ugh.
No, it wasn't healthy at all. And we received money for our wedding, and I was not allowed to touch the wedding money. All the money was his money. No, even though half the money is my money.
Yeah.
No, that's all his money. So if I was to take out $40, wow, there was going to be a big fight that would take place, and I cannot touch his money. So, yeah, he just really turned on me into somebody very different, extremely controlling. And once my money basically ran out and there was no Canadian citizenship moving forward, he was cutting me out of the picture.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And it also sounds like, what did he do for work, or how did he make income?
Oh, he was a personal trainer in guitar.
And did he make decent money doing that? Or is that, you were in Africa for a while, right? And so if you were there for 6 weeks, he probably couldn't work.
No, he didn't work the 6 weeks that we were in Africa. Guitar, you do make, your salary is tax-free. You don't pay any taxes on it. And his accommodations was also included in the package that he had. So he wasn't making very good money, but basically he got to pocket his whole salary because he didn't have to pay for like water and electricity and all that stuff. He never had to pay until I moved there. Then I could not live in accommodations with him, so we had to get our own apartment.
Wow, that sounds like a sweet gig. I wish I had that here in the U.S.
Yeah, that's why there's so many expats working over there, because it's kind of a crazy thing that depending on what nationality you are, the more money you would make. So even if he eventually got his Canadian citizenship, being recognized as a Canadian, he would actually make a lot more money than being a Tunisian. So your pay is based also on your nationality. It's just so crazy. That I swear they're breaking every HR rule.
Oh gosh, yes.
There.
Equal opportunity employer, not.
Yeah. The rest of the world isn't like America or like Canada. Speaking of that, so you're from Canada, you're living in Ecuador, you were in Qatar. There were rumors that we saw that you were deported from the United States. Is that true, or is that all nonsense?
That was such a special rumor. I really enjoyed that rumor because, first of all the viewers got to see me leave the Orlando airport and fly to Qatar. I don't ever remember us being in the immigration office and being sent back to Canada. I'm like, if I was deported, I think at some point in time, I would have been in Canada and not en route to Qatar. I mean, they even filmed us landing in the airplane at in Doha, the capital city of Qatar. So I'm like, when exactly did the deportation take place? Because I also was in New York City, not once, but actually 2 times in August for the tell-all, and then I had to go back to do what they call pickup lines. So they don't let you back into the U.S. You've been deported. And then, if you've ever been deported from any country, for you to go
not yet.
visit,
I haven't.
You to visit another country, you need to have you need visas, and if you have deportation in your passport, whichever country you go to, they pull up your passport information. They see exactly where you've been. You can't get no visa anywhere. Maybe Timbuktu, but you've been deported. You're not welcome to any country, because if you fooled one country and overstayed your visit, you will do it again in their country. So, it's just a whack, stupid, crazy story that my ex-bald-headed husband came up with.
Well, the stupider the story, the more people like it. That's what we found.
I know, they really do, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, at least they're still talking about you.
People were buying it.
Yeah.
So, did you not watch? I think it was like the second show where I'm leaving the Orlando. Everybody remembers Liam crying, but nobody seems to remember I left the Orlando airport and flew to Qatar, and that was actually, I think it was January, February. I think it was towards the end of February this year that when I had left to Qatar.
Now,
so
Liam,
actually, sorry, it was March.
He's American, is that right?
Yes, that's true, yes. He was born actually in Jacksonville, Florida.
So he should be able to, at some point, sponsor you to for U.S. citizenship, is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Then you can have dual passports.
Yeah, and Liam himself has dual citizenship.
Nice.
Awesome.
Well, what's next for you, Laura? Are you doing any promotional ads on Instagram? Are we going to see you? We know we're going to see you again on 90 Day Fiancé spinoff, or is there anything else you want to?
Now?
Yeah, is there anything else you want to plug or that you have coming up?
No, I really don't have any big plans at this time. Just continue to work on myself, and I'm actually have been really looking forward to the show being over and my 15 minutes being done. So I'm not doing any promotions at this time. I don't even do the cameos. I did not sign up for them. I am really a pretty low-key person, and I'm just taking life every day as it comes, day by day. I'm enjoying life at the beach with my one dog.
If I could give you a little advice, I would say stay in the limelight at least until this podcast comes out. Then you can go away and be quiet. But until then, please.
Okay.
Awesome.
This is the only podcast I've done. I've
It's the
actually
only one you
had
need to do. We're the best.
lots
We're great.
of people.
We're the one-stop shop for 90 Day Fiancé cast members. They all come on here. Well, all right.
Yeah, well, you guys obviously are good because Danielle really bragged about you folks. So I was like, okay, I'll do this one podcast with them.
We love Danielle.
Yeah. Well, Laura, we really appreciate you coming.
I
We
love
really
Danielle
appreciate you
too.
coming on the podcast today, and we look forward to either watching you on upcoming seasons or letting you disappear into the ether and enjoy your life as a nice private citizen. But either way, we're glad to have spoken to you and to now call you friend.
I wanted to put out, there's so many rumors out there. I was just waiting for them to say Laura is actually in Colombia and she's working for the cartel now. And then drugs.
Well, we talked to a guy from the past season called Fernando who was on the show, and he dated a woman from Colombia, so I asked him all about that. So we already got those answers, so don't worry.
Oh, okay, good. You got that area covered already. Good.
Yeah. Well,
I don't have to be the drug mule.
No. Please have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and we look forward to keeping tabs on you as much as we can.
Yeah, thanks, Laura. Appreciate
cool.
it.
Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
It's always nice to have another member of the extended 90 Day Fiancé family on the podcast, isn't it?
Yeah, it was great talking to Laura, and she was very pleasant. So we'll definitely have some more interviews, and maybe we'll have Laura back on at some point.
We'll see. The correlation between insanity on the show versus coming on to our podcast is strong. So the crazier you are, the better chance we're going to want you on there. So until the next time.
Definitely.
You can find us on Twitter. You can find us, all over the place, though we don't have a website anymore, but that's fine. Who needs a website when we're just posted on all of the, whether it's iTunes or Stitcher or any of this crap. So just go listen to us.
iHeartRadio. Yeah.
And just remember, Elaine, you may have come here as a stranger, but you're leaving as a friend. We'll see you next time on Bring Me Your Torch.
Bye.